welcome back. And now we're going to be speaking about data types. And data types are simply that. Remember, IT people, computer scientists, we really don't know how to name things. And a data type is simply the types of data or the different kinds of data that we can hold or use in Python. Now, the first one is called integers. And some of you might know this from your basic math. Now, this is just a whole number. This does not have a decimal point. Next, we have floats and we have double. These are both decimal numbers, but the first one, float, is up to 32 bits long, whereas a double is 64 bits long. So that's going to be more accurate when doing calculations. Next, we have a Boolean value, or a bool as some people say. That's either true or false. And finally, we have string, which is a series of alphanumeric characters. Now let's jump over to Python and see what this actually looks like. So here is my Thonny window. And I'm going to do a comment again. And for this one, I'm going to do integer. I'm also going to be making use of variables again. So when I use integers and bools and floats and doubles and strings, I'm going to be saving those values. A sensible variable name I can use for integer would be something like age equals, let's say 20. That is how I create an integer equal to 20, and I store that value in a variable called age. So when I need to print someone's age, I don't need to remember how old they actually are. I simply need to say print age. Now when I run this, let me just zoom out, run, you can see 20 printed down here. But just to prove that this is an integer, I can also do print, and inside of this I can put type, type, brackets again, and I can put the variable name in here. And what that will do, this will print the type of variable that this is. So I'm going to make this look pretty. This is I'll explain all of this stuff later on, but the only thing you need to focus on now is that this is going to print the type of variable it is. So when I run this now, this is a class and it says int. This is the only part we care about. So that's how we do an integer in Python. We simply leave it as a whole number. This video, I'm only going to focus on floats because floats and doubles are very, very similar. Simply floats are 32 bits long. Doubles are 64 bits long. Doubles will be much more accurate, but for our purposes, a float is going to be perfectly fine. So I added my comment by using a hashtag. I put float and I'm going to say height seems to be a good one. Height equals, let's say 1.456, right? Height. I'm going to now print my height. Remember, I don't need to put the value I want to print because imagine again, let's just make this a really long value. That's the value I need to print. But I don't want to remember this entire number. So I make it assigned to a variable and the variable is called height. So whenever I say to someone or I tell my program print height, it will simply go and grab this value here and print it on screen. I'm going to also copy this and make sure I have the data type printed on screen as well. All I'm saying here is print, this is and then it tells me the type of data it is. So let me just take a few numbers off and I'm going to press run. And as you can see, it comes up with the original value, which is this, and it tells me that this is a float. And again, we don't care about the class for now. The main thing we care about is the float part. Next, we're going to do a Boolean. That's Boolean, Boolean. And again, this is going to be true or false. So what I'm going to do is maybe say yes equals true and maybe say no equals false. So when I print these values, it's going to give me, I just wanted to show both of them. There's no reason for me to use both. I could have just used true or false, but I might as well show both. Now I'm going to print yes, and I'm going to put a comma here and print no as well. And let's see if that actually works. Yep, there we go. True and false. Now I want the data types of both of these. I'm going to combine this as well. So let me copy this one here. Let me just put that there. And in here, I'm going to put yes. I'm going to get the data type of the yes variable. And I'm going to also get the data type of the no variable. Right now, if I run that, here we go. That's a bool. And that one is a bool as well. So that's how we check the data type of something as well. We just simply put type in front of it when we print it. The most common thing you're probably going to make use of are strings. So string, string. And string is going to come in the form of name, address, anything that has alphanumeric characters. So a mixture of numbers and letters. But typically speaking, most people stick to letters. The difference with string versus the others, string must be in quotes. It can be double quotes like I have here, or it can be single quotes. Either one works fine, but you must remain consistent. If you're going to start with double quotes, you must end with double quotes. You cannot start with a double quote and end with a single quote, or vice versa. So for name, I'm going to say runs tech hub, right? And again, I'm simply going to print this. So print, and I'm going to say name, because again, I don't know, I don't want to remember this entire thing. I don't know what the name is. So once I print name, it's going to give me that value. And I'm also going to print the type of variable that this is, just to prove to you that this is a string. And I'm going to change height here. I'm going to put name instead. And when I run this program, if I press F5 on my keyboard, it's going to come down here. Runs tech hub. This is a str. It doesn't say string like the others did. They spelled the entire thing. This just said str, and str is a string. The very first one we had was integer, and integer is simply a whole number, nothing else. The next one we had was a float. Now float or double, I'm going to put that there and put double, because this could have also been a double, and I can change the type of this to a double, but I'll show that later on. A double or a float simply is a number with a decimal point with a fractional leftover section. We have a Boolean. A Boolean is true or false, so yes or no, up or down, 1 or 0 typically. And we have a string, which is alphanumeric characters. Now I can actually add letters and numbers in this. So I can say 1, 2, 3 minus or dash runs tech hub minus 4, 5, 6. And when I run this, it's still going to be a string, even though it has numbers. And the reason being, it's in quotes. Whatever I put in quotes in Python, it just forces it to be a string. So I'm going to run this now, and keep an eye at the very last one that said run text hub before. When I run that now, it says runs tech hub 123 dash runs tech hub minus 456, and it still says string. So these are the 4 main data types in Python. And all I've done in this program, I've assigned each data type to a variable name, to a variable. So age is equal to 20. Height is equal to whatever this is, 1.456987. Yes is equal to true. No is equal to false. Name is equal to 123 dash runs tech hub dash 456. And that's it. Those are our main data types that we're going to be using. Now I will obviously be using this a lot more. So stay tuned, and hopefully you guys understand everything so far.